Hi everyone. This is Sidhu here. So today we're going to run through the secure file ingestion or malware scanning service. So, so as a Pinatum provide many more services. In that, this is one of the important service we provide. So I'm going to run through this service today, and there's no any huge development required. Just use the AWS services to scan the files which are incoming to the our AWS account. Okay. So this service is called secure file injection. So from here after I start calling as the SFI. Okay. It's just a malware scanning service. Okay. So there is a use case where like we get a files from external customer that's all coming through internet. Okay, they will come to our AWS S3 bucket, and after that we use a CLAMAV, CLAMAV like the open source like antivirus to just to scan the file and see is it infected. If it is infected, it goes to quarantine bucket. If it is not infected, it is the valid file that goes to staging bucket for further processing. Okay. So which also involve many more process after that. Once the file is arrived in staging, we have the another like the ETL process, like data modeling process, which take it further and process it and like provide the data as a service to the like the business users. Okay, so I'm going to run through today just only how to get the file from internet, like from the customer into AWS, and then after that, like how the cloud maybe service needs to be configured to scan the file and the separate the file if it's infected. Okay. Yeah, so that's the introduction I run through. So, and this service, as mentioned, this service provides secure file upload pipeline. So there are many, like, almost all companies, they have a requirement where they get a file from the external customer or the public users. So that will, so that file need to be uploaded to their on-prem. So here I'm using AWS. So I use the pre-signed URL to upload the file to the S3. Okay. Once a file is come to the S3, then files are automatically scanned for malware using CLAMAV. So before moved into the trusted staging bucket. Okay. So the what and all functionality it provides is secure upload functionality where it is API driven. We provide the API to the customers to upload the files. So we have a malware detection. We're using a open source CLAMAV service like engine to scan the file, and it's automatically quarantine the file if it's infected, and it send notification. And notification I haven't added into this demo, but this is what we have in the real use case. And scalable event-driven processing. Like as soon as the file arrives, the Lambda get triggered, and also I have the SQS to just to maintain the queue, so not to lose the file. Okay. And here it is just run through high level, and it's a live demo, and it's not something we lift and ship to the production. So there are other the security measures you need to take care. So which I'm not gonna deep dive into security measurements. So just to use case like how to get a file into the S3 and process it using like scan it using CloudMAV and then push into the staging bucket for further processing. Okay. So this is a flow. Client calls the HTTP API. Then API invoke the Lambda and generate a pre-signed URL. You might ask why we need pre-signed URL. You could have used the API gateway directed to S3, right? So pre-signed with pre-signed URL, you can upload the file up to 5 GB. So there's no limitation. Okay. So there's another way of uploading the file, that is file transfer service also we have. So I'm going to run through separately. This pre-signed is something where customer invoke the HTTP API, get the pre-signed URL. It's a temporary kind of a security tokens and the URL to upload the file. So client upload file directly to S3 upload bucket. So S3 have event notification which trigger the SQS, right? Then SQS triggers the Lambda for scanning. The Lambda downloads the file and scan using the CLAMAV. Okay. So based on the results, if it is very clean, it go to the move to staging bucket, and if it is infected, move to the quarantine bucket. Okay. And SNS send notification, that is not something I'm not covered today, but this can be configured. Okay. So this is a high level design. So that's how the flow it goes through. If you look into it, the client, it might be user, it might be any applications, the web application. So they can invoke our API gateway to get a pre-signed URL. So API gateway rely on the Lambda to get a pre-signed URL for the upload bucket. So then send it to the URL. So then the client or user just use that pre-signed URL, send the file to the S3 bucket. Once S3 bucket comes, so that will trigger the event notification to SQS. SQS in turn trigger the event notification for Lambda, CLAMAV scanning Lambda function, right? And then, so if if it find the infected, like if it find a virus, then that file goes to quarantine bucket, and then it send the SNS to the users that your file has been infected. Okay. And if it is no infection, if the file is not infected and the scan is very clean, then the no virus, then it goes to staging bucket. So after staging bucket, we have many more processes like ETL processes, which I'm not going to cover as a part of this today's demo. Okay. Yeah. So like as I said, right? So this is not the lift and shift to the production. Okay, so there are many more like security measures, and the continuous update needs to be added, right? So security measures like that we can cover it in a separate session. But the one thing I just would like to mention here, that is the continuous update of the CLAMAV definition file, right? So that needs to be updated. So there is a mechanism you can follow. Like since I'm using a Lambda is a container-based Lambda, so it's run as a CLAMAV scanner, right? So virus definition are stored in EFS. So then I can use some event bridge to update the Lambda. It's a forget fresh clam, and that the EFS definition, the virus definition stored in EFS, the scanner Lambda can conjure that the latest version of the definitions. But I haven't covered this in the today's demo. So, but this is something needs to be done for production. Okay. Apart from this, API you need to put a security measures, token authentication, right? Host header, and you can put the WAF rules. And also you can avoid also DDoS attack, like you can implement shield. Okay. So this is simple presentation. So I'm going to run through the live live demo. So everything I've written in Terraform, this like configuring the entire service. So let me minimize this. You can see here. So I have a public GitHub repo. Okay. Let me bring this down. Okay. So as I said, we have many services. Like we have the file security. That's what I'm trying to run through. It is called FSG. And we have file transfer gateway, right? So that is, I'll keep it for the another session. Okay. So file security gateway, that's what the use case. I'm going to roll it out. I've written the Terraform script. So here it is simple main.tf. I'm going to deploy this into US2. It's run reason. So these are the module I'm going to call. So that's what module I've written. So which does everything like configuration of API, gateway, and other stuff, right? So before I start explaining, let's run this Terraforms. It will take time to like create all the necessary resources. Okay. So I'm going to do, so I'll just check where the folder where I am. That's fine. So I just do Terraform init. Okay. So this is already, you can refer the my other like recorded videos in channel to learn more about Terraform, right? So next I run the Terraform apply. I just put auto approve so that you don't need to ask permission to apply. Yeah, let it run through, right? So this model, basically, if you go through this one, right, the malware service, the one is the main, if you look at the site.tf, it's going to call the another API to create API gateway, right? And also have the next, this model, which will create if you look into it, it will create the necessary bucket, like quarantine bucket, staging bucket, and then it create the SQS, right? So then it create the Lambda role. So the Lambda, which I've written, you can look into it. So I'm using a container-based Lambda here. So this is a Docker file. So I'm going to pull the public Lambda Python, right? So then I install the CLAM AV, okay? The CLAMAV service, then update, and then run the fresh CLAM is the command. And this is my invoking the Lambda function, okay? So what Lambda does, like if it once it is scanned, right? You just check the file and you can look into the code. So I can send I can put the GitHub the repo here after the demo. So you just get the event from the SQS. You can see here. So that's the get the event from the SQS. That's the body, right? So once it is done, it runs the sub-process to run the CLAM scan and the local file and scan the file. If the file is okay, means like okay in the result standard, the file is very clean, copy into staging bucket. It will copy to staging bucket. Then if it is virus detected, then it say it move to quarantine. It's very simple Python one. Okay. And also this creation of Docker image also I've written in Terraform, right? So this Terraform does create the Docker image in Docker file. You can see this is a Terraform model which creates the Docker image, and then also it upload to the ECR. Okay, so I've created a ECR repository here and lifecycle and authorization token, so that like this Terraform does everything. If you look at the Terraform run here, right, so you can see currently it's running creating the Docker image. Okay, so this is step it's running. Okay. Once this all runs, if you go to the AWS, right? So you should be able to see all the bucket. Just refresh. You can see here the upload bucket, which is used for API gateway to upload the file. Once file is uploaded, right? Let's open this file and click on the properties, right? So if you scroll down, it has the event triggering to SQS, right? So this goes to SQS. So as soon as the file arrive, it go SQS, it send the event to SQS, right? Let me open the SQS simple queue here, right? Queues, open the queues, you can see here, right? So once the SQS comes, right? So then, so I've configured Lambda trigger. If you look into it, it trigger the Lambda. I think still it is creating because it has to create the Docker image and then create the Lambda, okay? So let it run. So you should be able to see here. And so once the Docker image is created, you should be able to see the Docker image. So its repo is created. The image is not yet arrived at. It's still creating. Okay. So I'm going to open the Lambda. Okay, you can see Lambda is getting created. So if you go to the SQS, you should be able to see the Lambda trigger. Still taking time. And meanwhile, let's go to API gateway and see the API here. You can see the API, right? And I also created a custom domain. You can see this is a custom domain. It's pointing to that API. There's the API route mapping. And also have the root 53 record is configured, right? So if you go to function, it is done, I think. Just open the function. This is a content-based function. So you can see imaged URI, right? So that's what's going to invoke, right? So queue details, let's see whether it is Lambda trigger added. You can see Lambda here, right? And you should be able to see this case trigger, okay? So if you go back to the Terraform, it runs successfully. You can see these are the buckets it's added, and this is the repository, and it's also given the custom domain URL, and endpoint URL is just to like use this URL to get a pre-signed URL, right? Okay, so I'm going to use the two files. One is the valid clean file. So that should, when I upload that file, that Lambda should scan it. It should say clean and should go to the staging bucket. Okay. I've also tried to upload the one of the infected file. So the CLAMAV should detect that it has the virus and it should send it to quarantine. Okay. So just clear the window. I'll just go to the folder where I downloaded the file. Okay. I'll say file. There's a one document file, I think. Okay. If we do here, yeah, document, right? So it's clear file equal to document file. Okay. So you got the URL, right? So let me just open that. So I'm gonna run the so this should be the URL is, the output you whatever they got a URL. It is the custom domain, the root 53 record which I created. Let's go to root 53, or you can get anyway, you get it in the output file. Okay. So I'd like to show in the root 53 also. Okay. Yeah, you can see here api.pinatum.org. Okay. So you can see it's mapping to our API endpoint. Okay. So I'm going to use this URL. I'm going to get the first step. What is our first step? Is to get the pre-signed URL, right? So I just say curl HTTP pre-signed URL. This API call, right, will give you the only pre-signed URL, right? Let's go back to our presentation, right? So what is our first step here? It's hitting API endpoint, get a pre-signed URL, right? So when I hit this, I should get a pre-signed URL. Yeah, this is a URL, right? So just copy down entire stuff. This is the URL. Okay. So I'll put that URL into variable upload URL equal to, right? This is URL. This is a pre-signed URL. So now I'm gonna upload the file. Okay. So file equal to document. Okay. Then let's say, yeah. So if you see, I define the upload URL that is in the variable, and file also the variable I defined. So I'm going to upload the valid file. So this valid file should be, it's a like free from the virus. You should go to the staging bucket, right? So let's hit this URL. So before hit, I'm gonna see the first it come to upload bucket or not, right? Just open the upload bucket. So there's no file here, right? So upload the bucket here, run it. It's uploaded. You can see, just refresh. The file has come here, right? So now you should be able to see the queue. There's a one invocation. Okay. If you go to monitoring, see, can you see? It's just a one invocation, right? I just few minutes ago, I invoked the like basically copy the file that is send the event to the SQS. Then SQS should have been invoked the Lambda function, right? So let's open the Lambda function. So I'm going to open the Lambda function. So click on the monitor. See, you can see the one invocation, right? So means it found the file, Lambda has been executed. Okay. So let's see in the CloudWatch what it has been printed. Okay. So I just run at 534 here. I'm going to open the file. It says, see, it detected the one scanned file and it's checked everything. Then it says, okay, downloading the file. Yeah, file is clean. It's copying to the staging bucket, right? If you go back to here, so this file is disappear here because it's scanned and send it to the different bucket, right? Go to staging bucket. You should be able to see the same file here. Got it? Okay, let's do the next one where I'll take the file which is infected, right? It has the virus in that file. Okay. Before that, I'll just open this file quarantine. I'll just show you that like there's no any file here, right? So now I have one file which is basically has a virus, right? So the file equal to, yeah, I see. This is a actually infected file. So I'm gonna put it into variable called file, right? So again, I have to invoke API to get pre-signed URL because the last pre-signed URL is used. That's it. You can't use anymore, right? So I'm gonna get the pre-signed URL again. So curl, this is getting the pre-signed URL, okay? And then similarly, the same way I configure this upload URL into the variable called upload underscore URL equal to this, right? This is done. No, I'm going to upload that file because this file is already variabilized, right? So this is the file is going to update, right? So I'm going to update this file. So just use the same curl API. That's it, done. It's uploaded. So you should be able to see in few seconds here, right? So just go there, see the SQSQ, I think you should be able to see another invocation. See, you can see another invocation, right? Just few seconds ago. Okay, let's go back and see. Still hasn't come. Yeah, here you go. It's came. Can you see? It's a quarantine. So this is quarantine bucket. Means this file has been infected. Okay, let's go to CloudWatch and see the file here, right? Yes, can you see it? So the file it came. Um, yeah, start downloading the file which is came. Then it's known virus. It's a known virus detected. Okay. So this is the engine it is using. Then it's once it detected, it said virus detected, moving to quarantine. Okay. So that's where you see this file. Okay. Yeah, that's all about the demo. I just wanted to show, just to go back the design, just to close this demo. So I'll just go back to the presentation, quickly run through that. So the client will invoke the API to get the pre-signed URL. So this API use the Lambda function to get the pre-signed URL. There's another Python program which I written. So once pre-signed URL is provided, so then user use that pre-signed URL to send the file to upload bucket. So once upload bucket, once the file come to upload bucket, then it send the SQS event to SQS, right? So the SQS then trigger the Lambda, right? So the Lambda use the CLAMAV engine to scan the file, and then if it is virus detected, right? Just if virus, if it is infected or it's virus found, it send it to the quarantine bucket. Then it will send the SNS notification, right? So this is, I haven't covered like in the live demo, but this is what we have in the real production like implementation, right? So if it is the file is the free from the virus, it's clean, it send it to staging bucket for further processing. Okay. So that's all about, and make sure that if you use this my code or anything, if you provision, make sure to destroy your resources. Otherwise, AWS will charge. Okay. So I'm gonna do the Terraform destroy. Okay. Auto approve. So before that, because S3 bucket needs to be empty, you can't just like Terraform will fail to detect, fail to delete, right? So I'm gonna clean this one empty. Okay, and also have to clean the staging because there's another file has been copied there, right? So just it's already empty. I think I've done that one. I have to do the quarantine one. Okay, so quarantine delete it. Okay, and also have to clean up the repo. Otherwise, it will fail to delete also. Okay, so just take this one. I'm gonna delete it. Okay, just say delete it. Okay. So now you run the Terraform destroy. It will destroy all the resource which is created. Okay. Okay. This is auto approve. I think spelling mistake here. Okay. So all the bucket will get deleted. Go back here. General purpose, all three bucket will go away. API gateway get deleted. So custom domain will get deleted. Right. So do the cleanup if at all if you want to practice this one. Okay. Yeah, that's all about today's one. So thank you for watching. So if you have any question, feel free to reach. If anyone would like to consume this service, feel free to reach me. We're happy to provide professional services. Thank you.